This program is proudly brought to you by LateNightMedia.com for all your podcasting, comedy writing, and hot steaming pod needs. LateNightMedia.com.
Conscious wisdom, challenging our skeptical, critical thinking, digging deep into the dark and the light, and exploring the depths of our mind, body, and spirit. The podcast sprinkled with science, creativity, ageless wisdom, philosophy, and conspiracy. So be part of the discussion and get involved. Be part of the action of thinking and being the revolution. Be conscious with wisdom. Conscious wisdom, challenging our skeptical, critical thinking.
Fantastic talk we're having here about everything a bit hempy, a bit cannabisy. And if you guys know what that's all about, well, you're in the right place because we're having a great talk. Now, back before we went to the break, we're just going to talk about a bit more the spiritual side of things and like where does it fit in, like into people's lives, because there are religions that do like worship, like Rastafarians. They're obviously a religion that believes this is a blessed plant. So Jana, could you help us out a bit here?
There's even like actually ayahuasca churches around. So there's absolutely places that worship certain plants and all the spirits that they have, and each plant does have a spirit. So when I was talking about hemp and what hemp can do and what magic that it's done for people, think about it, guys. It's one plant out of thousands and thousands of species that exist on Earth. Plants are our teachers, and they have been quite how do I say this? They have been quite
like abused or that sort of thing,
misinterpreted. They're really misinterpreted. They've been kind of like unknown to the Western world for a long time. And it's now that humanity has this certain point in time that plant medicine is coming into the Western people and the Western lives, and people are finding out about incredible medicines, incredible plants that indigenous communities work with. Plants like ayahuasca, plants like San Pedro, just different components, different substances, different combinations of plants. The ayahuasca, for example, which is what is used by indigenous people around the Amazon basin, that's actually a combination of two plants. That's the ayahuasca vine, and then that's the chacruna leaves, which is the DMT. So that combination of the two plants brings about the spirit of the Mother Earth. Which is a spirit that people work with to help themselves with certain challenges that they have in life, also for spiritual questions that they have about life, and absolute transformation and seeing a world that's beyond this dimension and beyond this world. So it's complete. It's a complete transformation that's even beyond just letting go of a couple of blocks.
Can you've tried it yourself?
I've done it.
Can you like tell us about your experience?
Yeah. I don't know if I have enough time.
No, well,
I'll summarize it.
I'll
summarize it. It has been absolutely incredible. But thank you for also mentioning just before the break that and bringing up that each plant does. I mean, there are negatives to everything, and the ayahuasca has been something that has absolutely changed my life around. I've been on a quest for the last for years now, actually, to help myself with certain problems that I was dealing with myself, and I've been in the field of techniques and looking at different systems, different techniques. I've taught different courses, teaching techniques, but until I came to organic matter and found out about ayahuasca and different plant medicines, and then gone up there and actually experienced it, it was kind of like playing with children's toys and being so surface and so intellectual that I wasn't enjoying my life. I wasn't living my life. I didn't know how to live, and I was in a constant battle with myself, and it's just having continuous challenges, and to the point where just before I went, I actually said to myself, I can't live with myself anymore.
And that's something pretty big. If you're just like, I'm done.
I've had enough.
That's not a good place to be.
No.
Yeah.
I really had enough of myself. So I went to Peru. I went to the Amazon jungle to experience this plant medicine, ayahuasca, with the local shamans there. And the experience has been absolutely just out of this world. Some ceremonies, the spirit of Mother Ayahuasca, the Mother Spirit, she was kind to me. And the interesting thing about her energy and what she does is she always takes you as far as you need to go to know your lesson, no further. So for example, out of the experiences I've had, the first one was around getting lessons around a certain breakup that I was going at the time that I was absolutely devastated about. So I was just asking, like, why? How could something so magical just go so wrong? And all these questions around that. What I discovered was just looking behind the veil was something so out of this world. And I don't know if I have enough time. I don't think I have enough time to honestly to talk about it, but it was so out of this world about the reasoning, a multidimensional reasoning about why it was happening, that I was just absolutely blown away and absolutely shocked. And I was able to let go of that energy and let go of that entity in that experience, which was extremely powerful and absolutely shocking.
And you can move on, like you let it go.
I know, I let it go. It only took half a ceremony to let it go. It was funny. Because I asked her, like, why, how could this happen? How did it go so wrong? And she's like, oh, it's a lesson. I was like, no, come on, tell me, please. How did it go so wrong? And I had to ask the question in different ways, 6 different times.
It's because you're attached to him, but you weren't like... Well, it's like that sort of thing where people get too attached to people. And you're like, you're on a journey together. You're not joined. It was really kind of why. And what I got was actually... it was like at a different dimension, that there's something that I did to him which was actually like really horrible, which I found out about it, and this was actually this male energy who was a part of every with different other relationships as well, has been messing up my life for a reason, for what I have done. So it's just been that he's been stuffing up my life because of that, which is kind of fair enough. So it was a huge battle during that ceremony to be like, I'm sorry for what I did, I'm so terrible, and then saying, oh, how could you do that to me? So it was imbalanced, and until we were balanced, like, he was really tired about doing this as well, and so was I. So we're just like, okay, we have to let it go. He's like, you don't want to let go of me, come on. And I said, okay. So in the end, I let it go, and thank God. And it's funny how all the relationships around all that has actually fallen away. Another ceremony, I could go on. This could be a whole episode.
It really could.
Jana's journey through the nether realms.
Oh my God.
All the higher realms. I don't know what.
It's kind of.
That's the thing.
You don't really know.
What is it? Is it a surreal experience? Is it where everything looks different and you experience in a different consciousness? Absolutely. Because we want to know about consciousness here on Conscious Wisdom Podcast.
Wisdom, absolutely. Yeah. It's all about the consciousness. And this other ceremony that I was at, it was actually what it was about, because every time you set a certain intention, and this one was around to stop judging myself and things like that. So that was around, firstly, with the spirit of Mother Ayahuasca. And by the way these ceremonies are conducted are in what we call a maloka. It's like a round, it's a round shaped building, and everyone lies there. It's done at night.
And then like a teepee if you're thinking American Indians.
And then and then the ayahuasca, it's actually served it's in a bottle, so you get a serving and then you drink it, and then the effects take place in somewhere around kind of 20-30 minutes usually, and the shamans sing to you, which is something that's completely, which is the Icaros, the song that they sing. It's actually, you think it's audio, you think it's sound, but it's actually visual representations, which is absolutely phenomenal. So you see them, you see what sound, what imagery produces. The shamans sing to people individually, and then when they sing to me, for example, when they come and sit with me and I'm going through some challenge, there's something I need to let go, I see the shamans come into where I'm with my experience, like as often as snakes, but everyone experiences them differently at different times, and help me out. And oftentimes they use things like this, which is Acco de Florida.
What's that?
It's a certain substance that they use during the ceremony they rub it on your hands and actually like blow it on you to help you go through the certain experience. If it's challenge or something like that, then they'll use this. Then there's also sage, there's Palo Santo, which is a different. There's different liquids. There's different plants There's different things that they use. Mapacho, again, as I mentioned,
which is tobacco,
for cleansing. Yeah, pure tobacco. They blow it on you and cleanse you. And there's this purging. There's a lot of vomiting. There's
the downside, guys. You're gonna throw up a lot.
She absolutely cleanses. She cleanses you out.
But if you go into like Don Tolman sort of stuff on like how to keep your body healthy, he says when you're throwing up, your body's just doing that because it's natural.
Yeah.
It's getting those toxins out. It's like when you get a massage and you feel really sore. It's in theory, it's your body getting out all of those toxins, and that just hurts.
Especially if you've been using pharmaceutical for a lot of your life. That's it. It's a lot of purging, and the thing is, in that scenario, it's actually celebrated. So when someone purges, the purge is actually glorified. So you're letting go of all that blackness. And one of the ceremonies I had, it was actually letting go, and I saw these black energies all around me. I was kind of like in this well, and they're all around me, these black energies, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this? So there's the blackness, and it's just vomiting it out, purging it out. But after the blackness disappeared, it's like whole weight lifted off my shoulder, and I was reborn into this it was like a baby dragon, and I was just like, and I saw the outside.
She's a dragon lady.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
I had wings, and I was actually walking outside, just tippy-toeing, and it's just the world that I saw outside was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So as I saw it later, it was actually, we're actually transitioning to a whole different dimension, to a whole different world. And what I saw was absolutely phenomenal. She was teaching me the lesson around judgment and not judging myself. There was, it's just like a dog, there's a couple of dogs running around as people as well. And it's kind of like when one of them would come over to say hello, it's like, they're coming, it's good, it's nice. But then they go, that's okay too. It's kind of seeing things as not good, not bad, but just, as I call it, just nice. Like nothing's good or bad.
Do you find it's hard to explain the experience because you're in such a high realm of consciousness? It's like trying to turn a painting into words that don't exist. Do you feel it's like that sort of thing? Like you can't. It's something that you can't explain to a lot of people.
It's funny because language is so limiting, and it is hard. But when you're actually, although you don't explain it through language, you can explain it through, I feel like, things through emotion. So when actually tapping into that, it becomes easier to connect. And I guess when I talk about the experiences, I guess I tap into that energy, and I tap into ayahuasca, and actually I feel her energy, and I feel kind of like this. I don't know what it's like, this organic kind of moisture, and kind of like being back at home. And when I talk about it, I feel that.
That's
and I feel
cool.
it easy.
I'd like to go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah,
that sounds amazing. That doesn't sound like it's a drug. Like, you know how they do all these scare tactics with drugs. It doesn't sound like that's something that should be relegated to this prohibited list.
It's not a drug. And that's
the thing.
It's such an insult to the medicine.